All right, so it's March 3rd. Oh, no, excuse me, it's not March 3rd. It's March 1st, 2013. All right, so I did part 1 of presidential press conference, ReSpOnCe to, and this is part 2. Now, it's pretty long-winded because it took pretty much 20 minutes to say as much as I needed to say from an on-the-spot, off-the-cuff, no rehearsal speech. But I've already covered every base that I could possibly cover, and every subject matter. And like I said, just because, you know, in part 2, I'm explaining that many of the things I say are to get shock effect to, in 3 years' time of all this pain and agony, while they were taking my cars, boats, and motorhomes and stuff like that. The last of what I had, shock effect. That's usually, but only if you're a famous person. If you say something shocking, if you're famous, the media and the paparazzi is going to cover it like crazy. But if you're a nobody, let's stop and pause a minute. What is a nobody? An unknown individual who they have tons of. Me and my twin, they've got tons of information in private files that go back years, including stuff that is on there that was never connected to either my older twin or myself. None of the stuff that they have in the archives and files, legal files, both private and public, and even top secret, a lot of it was fabricated, made up. And the people who made it up were the people who've already done these scenario things I'm talking about, the think tank dictators. It's pretty much what they are. Everybody becomes a boss and they become a think tank dictator. You have all these people working under them, and they have to perform, and they have to give certain expert opinions about what should be done and what shouldn't be done, and will this interfere and impede someone else's program within the government that might cause gridlock and an interference or an outright canceling of another program, because that's how these people operate. But yet, when it comes to an individual like me, who was slowly stripped of every goal, every hobby, everything that I ever cherished, gone. It wasn't a natural disaster that took it from me. It wasn't a hurricane, a tornado, a mudslide. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't a superstorm Sandy. It was people. People who don't know how to mind their own business. Neighborhood gossips. People who spread rumors and lies about other people. And people in authority believing it, and even taking down the information and establishing and making a record, a literal file they'll create, and put that fake stuff in there. No documentation, nothing, all hearsay. You have a very evil world here. It is full of nothing but bullcrap artists. It's full of contradictory creatures who don't have a right to call themselves human beings, ever. And yet I'm the one that only has maybe 29,000, 30,000 views. Oh, it's growing. Yeah, but the people you're like, the people that visit my thing and look at me and hear me rant and rave and are not willing to listen to every last one of them and see that this guy's really a nice guy. What happened to him? Why did these people do this to him? Because the government sees how smart people are, and if they can't put you in their pocket, if they can't buy you outright, they will destroy you slowly, just like they've destroyed me, either through intentional interference or through an indirect intentional interference or through direct neglect, total absolute neglect. And this is what they do. And it's probably done on the advice of their so-called think tank people that are behind the people that are in the face of the media. And the media as well, being on the take. there's a lot of people, and not enough, that know I'm telling the truth, that I'm hitting the nail right on the head, explaining it exactly the way it is working. And it's working to destroy people that could have had a chance to change things. When I came up with the spherical oil tanker, the round spherical oil tanker, the reason Obama brought that up, Bilderberg Obama here, he brought up the shipping companies and how they were having trouble. Well, you know, my program 30 years ago would have built these spherical oil tankers and would have had no oil spills, or reduced the amount of oil spills completely that have happened in the last 30 years. This is not hindsight. My ideas work because they're so simple. So they wanted these oil spills. They wanted the Exxon Valdez to spill all out. They wanted all of the oil spills that have happened to happen. Except maybe for the deep oil drill spills like the Gulf oil disaster. But again, these people are not, they're alien in nature. They really are. Maybe they're aliens in disguise. Maybe David Icke is right. They're all reptilian. They've got reptilian DNA in them, and they're all just outright evil. So long as they look, they're protected, number one. The President has Secret Service protecting them. But they're able to manipulate the society that we all live in. We're expected as people to cooperate with all the laws, even though many of them may hurt us, and the laws, the color of laws, are used to hurt us, especially the poor, the homeless. But yet, you people get on TV and complain that you can't get each other to cooperate. Don't you people, did you really listen to that presidential press conference? There were at least a dozen contradictions that I could point out exactly. And nobody cares. Because you're all addicted. You're addicted to the technology, the new technologies. You're addicted to YouTube, the internet, the TV shows, the movies, popcorn, candy, fun. And then you got to go back to work and pay that landlord and be obliged to the banking system and be obliged to the stock market system. You know, I say trash it all, because it is trash. Trash, garbage, and it stinks. It's stagnant. It isn't. This economy hasn't recovered. Let me tell you when the economy's recovered. When every homeless person has a house, regardless of who they are or what you claim their mental problems are. When every person, if New Zealand, the country of New Zealand, can have, and I know it's a smaller country, but if they can have more than 75, I think it's higher than that, it's higher than 75% home ownership in that country, then this country should be able to do it too. If France and England and Canada can have socialized medicine, and Canada's our neighbor, then we should be embarrassed and ashamed to feed the insurance companies billions of dollars more to get a crappy system, the Obama health care, which isn't going to work. I don't care how you cut it, it's not going to work. The only salvation, if you want to get the gross national product at its highest level, then you have to take care of the people, and you have to make sure that they all have excellent health care. And you can only do that with socialized medicine. The doctors have to take a back seat. If they really believe in their Hippocratic oath of wanting to heal people, wanting to help people, then they'll be more than glad, and should be, to accept with open arms across the board, the whole United States, all 50 states, maybe even Puerto Rico, socialized medicine. Add socialized medicine, or even a partial socialized medicine of some form or character, to the Obama health bill, and I'm sure you'll get a lot more productivity out of your country. When people feel healthy, you know, it's hard to explain this. Doctors used to send their patients to me. Why? Because I'm so knowledgeable about quantum medical physics, okay? If you feed people, it causes a chain reaction of amino acid activity. This amino acid activity goes to the brain, and it isn't just sex that motivates people, it's also the foods, a continuous chain of the correct type of foods. Not always eating junk food, but I'm just saying, the correct type of foods, and you're going to get people that are going to be more productive because they think better. If you don't eat right, you don't think right. But my slogan is, if you don't eat right after 30, especially after 30, and you don't supplement correctly, then you're never going to think right. And I don't care what you claim you contributed to in the past, and if you're a politician and you're going to say you're going to do all this great stuff, quote unquote, and you're going to fix the country, it's a quagmire full of crap you're trying to feed me and everybody in the United States. Your choice your choice is simple. It really is. Adopt certain things. Obama, you talk about making tough choices. That's the toughest choice you could make, asking doctors. If they're willing to do Doctors Without Borders, then there should be Dentists Without Borders. And that means not just them going to other countries and fixing other countries' kids, but fixing our problems too. What about the people here? We have to work like slaves with 2 or 3 jobs just to pay some insurance company a premium to get some kind of decent health care? Are you nuts, Democrats and Republicans? Are you wacko? It's not going to work. Doctors have to make sacrifices. President gets up there and he says the middle class has to make sacrifices. Everybody has to make sacrifices. Mrs. Obama said that. We have to work harder than we've ever worked before. That's what she said at the convention. What the heck are you talking about, Mrs. Obama? You're full of it too. All of you are. Your heads are in the clouds. You're really thinking, oh, we can do this, we can do that. Have you tested it? Have you tested any of the crap that comes out of your mouth? And it is crap. Because the crap comes out of reporters' mouths, they come out of the politicians' mouths, and it comes out of the people's mouths too. Because they don't take care of themselves. If they eat right, they think better. They think better, they act accordingly. They're motivated. They're motivated to want to produce more. Like Kevin Kline says in the movie Dave, when they get that check, they get a job, they feel like they can fly. Well, it isn't just a job and a check. It's also health care. So, and I had 16 debate challenges to both Obama and Romney. They never answered. Why? Because their political managers said, oh, you can't debate this guy. He's a wacko. He's nuts. He's a loose cannon. He talks and changes the subject hundreds of times, and he goes, but you're not going to solve the problem, no matter who you vote into office. How many people in this country would raise their hand and say, how many of you feel like you voted for the lesser of 2 evils? I bet I'd get the majority of people raising their hands, both Democrats and Republicans, going, yeah, I'm always having to vote for the lesser of 2 evils. And that's what the public would probably say. But, except for staunch Republicans and staunch Democrats who are so brainwashed they won't even budge an inch. I mean, this guy who says he's president, and who the people's made him supposedly president, says, can't get any cooperation for the Congress. Well, hey, the people cooperate. They're cooperating with pretty much the country. They're paying the higher gas prices. They're still keeping their money in the banks. They're still going on with the normal procedure. They're cooperating. And you're telling me that you can't get Congress, the same people who put in the same gas in their car, the same, pretty much doing the same activity that normal people do, except that they're a little higher up on the ladder, that you can't get them to cooperate? I'm sorry, that presidential conference was a sham. It was nothing but a whitewash. And so is every living person, every living voting person in the United States. And they talked about the border and how those guys are going to get cut on the illegal aliens coming across the border and gay sex and gay marriage and whatever else they want to talk about. Come on, that was a waste of time. Who wants to hear all that crap? Like Like TR said, it's just a bunch of quagmire. It's a quagmire that you people created, and now you don't want to live up to the responsibility of trying to correct it. When, you know, I should have been paid attention to a long time ago. Unfortunately, I do have to tell the public, it's way too late, because you've done so much damage to me. The word hate is a nice word for what I think America is really all about. You don't deserve anything except death and destruction and horrors and getting told you've got cancer and not having the money to go take care of it and dying and it doesn't matter. Again, we go back to the movie Dave. We got so many problems, we can't even hear ourselves think. So who would want to even talk about it? They don't. But you want to institute bills in Congress, the Senate, and the state levels, at the local levels. You want to introduce new bills, new activities of bills that will hurt and put another nail in our coffin, in everybody's coffin, as the future evolves, as we evolve towards this unknown future. I don't think there's anyone that's in power or in office anywhere on the planet that can give us a blueprint, an actual definite blueprint of what the end result is going to be from all these bills interacting with each other. There isn't anybody. So why should you believe them? Why should you believe anyone that gets up there and tells you this stuff? So at 16 and a half minutes, you know, what else is there to say? They get away with murder. And unfortunately, that's what they've done to me. No, he asked for the reporters, any suggestions? He pretty much said, I'd gladly take any suggestions. Well, I've already given my suggestions, but he ain't going to go there. You know why? Because his hands are tied. Because he can't get cooperation from the Congress. But he's getting cooperation with the people that voted him into office. Can't they contact the senators and congressmen and say, hey, we're a majority of vote, we voted for this president, therefore, from the way the vote is, the popular vote, all those people are represented by people in Congress and the Senate. So why is he having trouble with the Congress not wanting to cooperate with him when he got the majority of the vote? Sounds to me like the same people that voted for him also are represented by congressmen and senators who should be agreeing with him immediately, without question. And he would win every bill, hands down, every time. So, why the quagmire? Why this gridlock? Think tank gridlock, financial gridlock, gasoline gridlock, oil spill gridlock, drought gridlock, same-sex marriage gridlock. This all garbage. I could answer all of those questions and have solutions for them and show a future in project, in a blueprint. When you show someone a blueprint of a building, you know what it's going to look like when it's finished. The people want to see a blueprint and they want to see the end product. They want to know how they're going to be living 5 years from now. What is the standard rent going to be paid for the people who are still renters? What is the standard mortgage going to be for the people that are still mortgaged? What are the standard interest rates and profit margins that the banks are going to have 5 years from now? We want to see that blueprint up front. We want to see the working model. You know what? They ain't going to show it. You know why? Well, one reason is there's people like me to remind you these things. There's people like me to tell you, hey, you should be mad as hell and you're not going to take any more of it, like Peter Finch says in the movie Network. But you don't care. You don't even care about my videos. My videos never make it onto television. Because why? Because the media is controlled. They really are. And, you know, all we hear is rhetoric. It isn't the truth. Certainly isn't the truth. Anyway, I think I better go now. And I might do a part 3. Let's see if that's going to happen.